everybody, this is Sophie and Marco, Dish on the Movies, etc. Today we're reviewing Spider-Man Homecoming and Quiz Show.
Ugh.
First up is Spider-Man Homecoming, which was released in July of this year, 2017. Previously, Tom Holland, the young actor, appeared as Spider-Man for the first time in Captain America Civil War. This movie was his first as a standalone main character with the help of Tony Stark, aka Iron Man, played by Robert Downey Jr., and the villain called Vulture, played by Michael Keaton. In this movie, Tony Stark decides to use his own construction crew to pick up leftover debris from Alien vs. Marvel World battles. And this isn't any old garbage. It's filled with lots of toys for angry construction crews who were salvaging that special garbage initially and looking forward to the huge financial windfall they were going to score from selling it. Angry about the loss of work and money, Michael Keaton and his freelance crew decide to take a few pieces of garbage on the sly that turn out to be very effective and even lethal in committing other crimes. Meanwhile, Peter Parker plays a very smart kid who is supposed to be practicing with and joining the school's academic challenge team. As much as he would like to do that, he prefers donning his specially made Tony Stark-esque kind of computerized Spider-Man costume. Now to you, Marco.
Okay, first off, you completely got it wrong because this movie isn't called Spider-Man Homecoming. It's called The Elementary Adventures of Young Iron Man. Because that's what this movie is. It's I was looking forward to it. I thought that I don't know. I really don't know what they were thinking. It's like 6 different movies in one. Because there's a script with 6 different writers, 6 different scripts, and probably even more than that, maybe 12 different scripts. And it really shows. What do you think?
Well, basically, I didn't have any expectations. The problem for me is that I enjoyed, the first person who played the Spider-Man. What's his name?
Bobby Fischer.
Oh, hon. Tobey Maguire.
Who plays Bobby Fischer in Pawn Sacrifice.
Yeah. Tobey Maguire. And then the girl actress who plays Kirsten Dunst. I really enjoyed their performances. I really enjoyed the movies that they were in. And I don't understand. I mean, I can understand now if they're older and they're beyond this movie. Okay? They
still worked.
They moved on to other projects. Well, they would have to play older versions of themselves.
Doesn't matter.
And it would be a different kind of movie. But the thing is, I don't understand why there are 3 different. It's like rewinding a tape over again with new characters 3 times. Because you have this, you had him and her, and then you have the guy who played the second one. Who's that guy from Andrew
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield.
I call him something else. I call him Andrew Oldfield.
And how many?
He's way too old.
How many Spider-Mans was he in?
2.
And then now you get another one. And I don't like that. I really, one thing I enjoyed, and I know some of you don't like Harry Potter, but in the Harry Potter movies, it was called consistency. Consistency with the characters.
Yeah.
And how many movies did they make?
8.
And lot of movies with the same
Well,
characters.
and they're gonna make the Cursed Child with Joss Whedon writing it and directing it with the same crew and cast.
Oh, well, I don't know anything about that, but the thing is, I think people like consistency, and it just feels like you pick up with this franchise, you pick up and you then you start over again. You pick up and you start over again. You pick up and you start over again, and really between the three types of movies or the three different characters, and there's nothing. I don't have anything against any of those two guys who played Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. That's what I'll call them. I just don't like this start up and start over, start up and start over. I like consistency.
Yeah, you should have seen.
I think it weakens the character.
I was telling her to watch the movie, and she didn't even know it was a reboot, or she didn't even know what the word reboot means, and so she was like, what do you mean by reboot? Is that like, I don't want, I was like, that means that they start from scratch and remake it. And she was like, oh, she had this meltdown over it. It was pretty funny.
Well, I guess I should have expected, because I did see this movie that he was in.
You saw Civil War.
I saw the Civil War movie, and he fit right into the movie.
Yeah, he was really good in Civil War.
And yeah, that's right. That's what I've heard from other people who've talked about. They really liked his performance. In fact, that's probably why he got this movie as a standalone or main character, because he was so good in that other one. I
Okay.
don't, but I just have problems with it. Sorry, but I do.
Well, you haven't really mentioned any more problems, then it's just.
Well, I didn't
it's a
know I was
remake.
supposed to yet.
You have to. I mean, you can't just list one. So I'm gonna list 1,000. Okay, number one. Primarily, is the casting.
Ugh.
The casting is horrendous, and barf, and just completely antithetical to the comics that this movie is based on. Supposedly, there are all these people that are like, oh, Spider-Man Homecoming. It's so much more faithful to the comics than anything else has ever been. And yet you have this casting, and I don't know what they were thinking. And it really, I was watching the movie, and I was expecting to like it, and I was confused as to why they would cast these people who are nothing, who don't look anything like the characters in the comic books, and also don't act like anything in the comic books. And that's a huge problem when you have Spider-Man. And I'll give you one example so that then you can fill in the rest. Okay, Mary Jane. She does not look anything like Kirsten Dunst looks. Or, what was that girl's name? The girl? Shailene Woodley. She doesn't look anything like Shailene Woodley or Kirsten Dunst. And she doesn't act anything like Mary Jane, the character is supposed to act. This character was created as an inspiration for nerds who feel like they can't get the girl, they can't achieve anything. They're just these losers, and this is what they get. They get this Breakfast Club ripoff who just doesn't care about anything, and she just sits around with her hair all over her face and just acting like she wants attention from everybody, and just ugh. And you can fill in the rest. And then secondly is the story, because the story is Young Iron Man. It's this guy who did one thing as a superhero. He stopped a bus from hitting a car. That's literally all he's done as a superhero. and also fought with the Avengers, but with that crappy Iron Man suit. And he uses this mechanical suit the whole movie. And it's like, okay, Spider Man wasn't created. He wasn't created by himself like in the comics. He was created by Iron Man, and oh, Iron Man who was his mentor. No, he wasn't. Not at all. There's no mention of Uncle Ben. He doesn't have spider sense, which is unbelievable. And number three is the director, who I'll call Mr. Ripoff, because he ripped off Ferris Bueller and then literally put a TV playing Ferris Bueller right in front of you so you can see what's being ripped off. I mean, how obvious and stupid do you think the audience is? How stupid do you think we are that you have to play Ferris Bueller right in front of us? And then, as I mentioned with Mary Jane, she is a ripoff of that girl in the Breakfast Club who is the quiet one and excuse me, she's the quiet one who doesn't really talk at all until middle to the end, and then of course you have the 80s type of things that happen with the dance and just there's too much. It's too much. I'll let you talk a little now.
Okay, well, I just remembered, I don't know how I could forget, but one of the biggest casting odd things was Aunt May. Now, I
Oh,
like the actress who plays her. She's got an Academy Award in another movie, but Aunt May and all the other movies and this one is totally different. Aunt May is supposed to be an older woman. It's not supposed to be some hip, middle aged, although she doesn't look middle aged, but I think she is. But she looks really good and she's pretty and she's cool and she's just it's wrong. It's just wrong. It's not, I don't know, I just think it's ridiculous. And I'll talk about what I think about the casting in total at the end when I give my review. But and like Marco said, the suit, I don't get that. I thought the story of Spider-Man is that he was bitten by a spider, and the one I remember seeing with Tobey Maguire's, they were on some kind of a field trip, and he gets bitten by a spider that's in some exhibit.
exactly what happens.
And I don't, and to tell truthfully, I've never read any. I don't read comic books, so if something happens in these new movies and it's been in a comic book, I'm sorry, I haven't seen it at all, with or without these. What Marco says, these are changes that weren't in the comic book. So okay, so it just doesn't make sense. So he's only Spider-Man if he wears this special suit. I haven't seen any Iron Man movies except for these, also this Civil War.
She's only seen Avengers 2 and Civil War. Those are the only movies she's seen with Iron Man in
So
it.
I've never seen any like origin story with Iron Man, never read any comic book. So Marco is saying that, well, I saw it enough to see that he has a suit, and the Spider-Man suit that Spider-Man wears in this one is like that, because
It
a
is
computer person
exactly like
talks
it.
to him, and and then there's little gadgets all over it, like the Iron Man guy. So so I don't understand. The story is he got bitten, so he can't be Spider-Man unless he wears a suit. Is that really?
They
I
act
don't
like
get that.
they act like that's the question. Like near the end, remember when Tony takes it away from him? But really, what they're just doing is they're creating an excuse for him to get it back.
Yeah, I guess so. Whatever. The other thing is the dialogue. Now, I'm an older lady, but Marco is fresh out of high school, and I was around enough kids his age, which this is supposed to be Spider Man's age, and they don't talk like that. They don't say about 6 to 10 times or 11 times, "This is awesome." They don't say that all the time like that. And they also don't say "this is cool" 5 or 6 times in a conversation. I'm sorry. It
Now
just
I understand that. Okay, he's got this Iron Man suit, and it is awesome. But the thing is that I'm. It's not because I'm a filmmaker. It's not because I'm a writer. It's because watching the movie, it's very distracting when a character just keeps repeating the same lines of dialogue, and it's lazy too. It's really lazy, and just it acts like the audience for the movie are like a bunch of little kids who, just like flashy Iron Man stuff, and just flash, 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 and what was I? Okay, you go ahead, keep talking. I'll try to remember.
well, it's just the things especially that come out of Spider-Man's mouth. It is not real. It's fake. And I don't like that. If you're going to be if you're going to present a high school character, at least find out how they actually sound instead of and when you even also he's supposed to be in this movie anyway a super smart kid who they actually need him for this academic challenge team. He knows things that others don't. He's a very strong academic. He knows a lot of facts, and they want him for the team because he's so strong.
They don't really
and
show that though.
and he if somebody's that smart, they don't talk like that. I talk to kids all the time too. Even though my son's graduated from high school, I see him all the time in fast food places because we go out a lot, and they don't talk. And I talk to them; they don't talk like that. So I don't get it. They're in fact they talk more grown up and intellectual than the supposed intellectual in the movie. So that irritates me.
And Shocker, you probably didn't notice this, but Shocker was there, the villain. It that's another casting decision. It's actually two different casting decisions that really don't make any sense. And also, speaking of villains, Michael Keaton did a fantastic job as the Vulture. He's the only good thing in the whole movie, and he saves it because if not, then this would have just been a million years of us bashing this horrible film. But
I'm not gonna waste my time.
he was great. He
Yeah.
he especially there's a scene in the car, and it just seems to go on for the perfect amount of time with him finding things out and talking and everything, and he was just perfect. And he was underused too. He was very underused. There's one scene where Spider-Man's talking to him about the morals of what he's doing, and it goes on for 2 seconds, and it really should have gone on longer because it was interesting and it brought up questions. And also, okay, I can see there's one thing I can see about having to have the mechanical suit. It's because we're gonna go to Infinity War, where the Avengers are going to have to go up against the Black Order, and the Black Order is a group of gods or these monsters. I don't know exactly what they are, and they are the, some of the most powerful beings in the universe. And Spider-Man is going to be on that crew of people fighting, and how is he going to fight them with just his little homemade suit? But that's the point of Spider-Man. So I think what their logic was is that they needed to have him be trained in this Iron Man-like suit because it'll give him an easier advantage over these intergalactic monsters. But still, I just made the point that's not what Spider Man is. That's what Iron Man is. Spider Man is a geek who is supposed to go up against all odds in a homemade costume with no shield and just these powers and defeat evil. So, what do you think about that?
Oh well, I agree. It's I don't know anything about what you're talking about, but
Doesn't that seem like
that
a possibility?
yes, it seems like a really good possibility that he's giving him extra tools to fight some superior being or beings, um, or more challenging enemy, and they need all the help they can get, extra help they can get. So whatever. But to me, it's I.
And there's another thing is that, Spider-Man got that Iron Spider suit, which is the suit he's gonna get for Infinity War. He got that in Civil War in the comic, and he was able to figure it out perfectly. And that's because he's smart. Did you ever know that he was smart enough to figure it out because he's one of the smartest people ever? He's a geek, he's a total nerd. I mean, it really makes Spider-Man like a dumb little kid.
Well, he sounds like a dumb kid because of
Yeah.
his dialogue, and that's not right. Okay, so that's irritating. So I think we should review it now, or give our
Okay.
review, or our
For
rating.
before spoilers.
Well, you can spoil all you want. I'll stay out of that. Okay, this is what I'm going to say about the rating I'm going to give it. Remember, we give our movies rating in terms of food that we like or dislike. So this is what I'm saying. You know that cooking show, Cutthroat Kitchen, where contestants bid on challenges to undermine other contestants' cooking? For example, giving someone an easy bake oven to bake a cake, or using breadcrumbs instead of bread, or fruit flavored candy to replace fruit. In many ways, this movie irritated the heck out of me, especially the casting, which I will call deconstructed casting. And I first heard the term of deconstructed cooking on the Cutthroat Kitchen show. Therefore, I'm going to give this movie a grilled cheese sandwich made out of croutons and cheese that you scrape off a sandwich cracker. But I want to serve it with a nice cup of hot chocolate and marshmallows in honor of Michael Keaton's fantastic performance as a villain in this movie. And also the surprise reveal of whom he really is near the end of the movie, which made my jaw drop to the floor, which I already mentioned before. But I mean, I was totally shocked. Okay?
I give this movie half of a strawberry breakfast bar and half of a blueberry breakfast bar with cheese spray all over it and maple syrup. The cheese spray, is because of the cheesy dialogue and the cheesy childlike action sequences, which pale in comparison to the ones in the older Spider-Mans, which actually had maturity to them, and you're putting stuff on the microphone. And also, the maple syrup is Michael Keaton, because he is. Stop that. Stop. Michael Keaton, because this movie should have been what Spider-Man is. And Spider-Man is two pancakes with strawberry syrup and blueberry syrup and maple syrup.
Mwah.
And instead of that, it was this. So
Hmm.
that's what we get. We don't get pancakes. We get horrible breakfast bars and horrible cheese spray and maple syrup.
Ugh.
And the breakfast bars is because it's for little kids, and the casting is nothing like what it should be, which is pancakes. And now we get the spoilers. Talk about the casting. Sophie, you said you had more to say about the casting.
Peter Parker likes this girl, and he's dying to ask her out. And it seems like other people are interested in her, like he's not going to have a chance, but he asked her out to the special dance. It's like near the end of the year, or near the end of the movie. And all along, here he is. He's been fighting this villain guy who's Michael Keaton. And, I mean, it's gotten really close. They've really hurt each other. And who is Michael Keaton? He is that girl's dad.
Rip off! What did that rip off? You know what it is. Spider-Man.
I don't know.
Because in Spider-Man, he finds out that Green Goblin is Norman Osborn,
Oh, yeah.
the father of his best friend.
So we're kind of repeating the storyline.
It is literally a rip-off. And you have that exact same conversation where, what happened to your arm, Peter? I got clipped by this biker, and that's why I've cut my arm. And you have Norman looking at him. Well, now, Michael Keaton, you disappeared just like you always disappear. Just like you disappeared in my party, disappeared. And then Michael Keaton knows. It's literally a ripoff. It's a ripoff. And then they even flash this green light all over Michael Keaton's face, as if they're just pointing it out that they're ripping off Green Goblin. Isn't that? That's disgusting. It's really disgusting. And then obviously, what else is there to talk about?
Well, the thought just came to me that the reason why the dialogue is dumbed down for the kids, and instead of high school, it seems to be almost like middle school.
Preschool.
Although they wouldn't.
No, it's nothing like middle school.
They would not have it, but truthfully, they do not have academic challenge teams in the lower grades. They only have them in high school because we have them here where we live, and the local high schools they used to fight each other. They put it on every Sunday morning, and anyway, it's to appeal to little kids, because the little kids are supposed to be able to watch this movie, I guess. So I don't why.
I was a little kid and I watched the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. I think it's one of the best superhero films of all time.
So the point is, you don't have to do that to appeal to little kids. Don't make it worse. Don't dumb it down. We don't need that. Kids are smart.
Yeah.
Kids talk smart.
They're a lot smarter than people give them credit for, and especially in regards to the movies. Like, we just saw some kids' movies trailer at The Man Who Invented Christmas, and pretty much all it was fart jokes and horrible stupid humor that nobody would find funny besides like a 3-year-old. And these horrible stories are all the same, and it's really insulting. Because as a kid, I liked the Universal Monsters and these Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies and Charlie's Angels and Spawn. And those movies were not dumbed down for kids because kids don't like that stuff. Truthfully, they're just liking it because parents are teaching them to like it because they don't give them anything else to watch. They don't give them options to watch anything else.
And we know this for a fact.
Yeah.
We've seen it. So, but it's not my business, and nor is it Marco's to say anything because they're going to have to deal with it. Mark will be in high school, sitting in a classroom, and he would say, "Oh, I used to watch this certain movie when I was a kid," and they would say, "I was never allowed to watch movies like that." And I'm not talking about some R-rated horrible movie with sex and drugs, and I'm just talking about just a regular movie. And can be very sheltered when it comes to movies. And if your kid has some kind of really bad nightmare problem or something, I can understand it. But I mean, don't. It's just this is where I'm just saying we've seen this before, and where people think they have to make something a certain way to accommodate people, and they don't have to. They don't have to do this. So you just make your movie. You don't make it good. You make it worse. It's like putting tax on something. You have a picture, a really nice picture, and you put tax all over it. Why would you do that? Makes no sense. So anyway, that's it. I think we're done.
This is awesome.
Yeah, this is really awesome. This is cool.
This is
I
awesome.
say cool. I said that when I was younger.
How'd you like his sidekick?
His sidekick?
His horrible friend who outed him as Spider-Man 5 minutes after he found out, and just completely was annoying the whole movie. But I actually thought he was funny.
He was okay. I don't think he was bad because I've seen this for adults and something where, and like Lucifer or something on TV where somebody got outed right away by Lucifer actually because he thought it was funny or he didn't understand what the problem was, and so I'm not going to fault that character for it. I thought he was okay. And everybody has a friend.
Well, still horrible casting because nothing like what he is in the comic books.
It's called deconstructed casting.
It's called awful casting. It should never happen ever anywhere.
Okay.
For adaptations, not for original content. We're not bashing these people because of their race. We're bashing them because of the characters that have already been created in the comics. We don't care. It's fine in original content.
Well, it's just a matter of having consistency, okay? People like consistency. Look at Harry Potter. There's consistency there.
Well, they did something with that too, and people didn't take too kindly to it.
No, I know, but the movies I saw was all consistent, the same casting, except when they had a villain who they brought in. That would be somebody different because it's a new villain.
Very consistent.
And everybody loved the characters.
And I would say Harry Potter is a lot better than this movie.
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Every one of them, even the bad ones like the 6th one and some of the 4th and 1st one. So.
Okay, well, we have to go now because we have to put up another Christmas decoration.
Goodbye.
Bye.